call was for the police if they get called out to a party, maybe at a house or something, and say the music is loud, kids are hanging out in the backyard. What? So you guys come in. Do you? And let's say some kids are drinking, and maybe other kids don't know. Maybe they do. What do you guys do?
Okay.
Today, do all kids basically have to take a breathalyzer, or are they all guilty because of the MIT?
If they're intoxicated and you're the homeowner and you've allowed this to go on, you're facing criminal charges. The students or the children that are violating the law, if they are intoxicated, we got 15 or 20 of them, and I know of some cases in this area where the parents have condoned those parties. The neighbors call in because there's all this wild noise at 1 o'clock in the morning, and guess what? Mom and dad that own the house, they can go to jail.
Right. What about the kid? From the kid's perspective, do
Well,
they have come?
well, you may get
there so they feel safe.
Right. You may get public intoxication. They're out there wandering around on the street drunk. You may get under the influence if they smell of alcohol. And guess where we get a lot of alcohol cases? Tully Field. On the football nights. And especially, what's coming up? Homecoming. Here's your first test, parents and seniors. And all that.
So here's my follow-up question to hers, though,
Yeah.
is can law enforcement enter a private home only if you suspect that minors might? Say these kids are not wandering in the street, they're in the backyard, and this makes me seem guilty, but it's... And I was wondering who was going to ask this. No, I'll tell you. But can you come up to the house, and can law enforcement enter a house just on suspicion of minors drinking in there? If the kids are in the house, the door shut.
If they're in the backyard, if they're making noise, you've got a noise disturbance if
Okay.
it's at 1 o'clock in the morning. The officers can go tell them to be quiet.
What if it's at 10 o'clock at night?
10 o'clock at night, I mean,
know if
after...
there was a time frame.
Well, when you start getting citizens that are calling in complaining about all the loud music, the noise, the laughing, the breaking of bottles, and you go in there and there's some beer bottles scattered all over the place and everything else, now you have probable cause. You know that you stopped Jane and John outside, you know, and they're 16 and 17 years old. They've been drinking. You've got reasonable enough suspicion to go ask for some more. You can go to the parent and say, do you know what's going on in your backyard? Oh no, I don't know anything about it. So you didn't hear all the noise that the people down at the end of the street did. That's not gonna wash. We don't try to come in and search your house and tear it upside down and everything else, but when we got the evidence wandering around doing all of this stuff, and we've got to shut it down. The goal is not to file charges on a lot of these kids, is to get their attention, get them home, and then if the parent...
Get them home safely.
Right, get them home safely.
So
And-
if
yes.
the child has not been drinking and she's at the party, is she guilty for MIP or
No.
breathalyzer or what?
If she, and we have them like that too,
Yeah.
where they don't drink. They may be the designated driver, okay, that's a good thing. My oldest daughter was the designated driver, so she did real well at that. But anyway, her friends were having a problem. But no, if they don't show any signs, no sign of alcohol coming from their breath or their clothes, you can do a quick little check with their eyes and watch that on a field sobriety. They're fine. We're not out there to make a whole bunch of arrests. We're out there to bring it down and get everybody home safely, like the judge said.
Is that true of HPD as well? Right.
Well,
You need to understand that police officers are tasked with enforcing the law. I mean, that's their job. And they do have a great deal of discretion, but their number one priority is to enforce the law. That's their number one duty. And so you may not get law enforcement that has the same goal because the jurisdiction is much smaller here than the city of Houston.
we have, I tell you, the school district officers, we're here, the folks that I hire are here because they want to be here with the kids. Now, HPD, they'll go out and they'll enforce the law. My son's on the SWAT team with the Sheriff's Department. I wouldn't want him working around any of the kids over here, okay? Because he's after the cartels and everything else. That's good. We have officers out there. We need those. But patrol officers, they'll come in, and if there's a lot of drunks, and if they start getting resistance, and if people start acting bad and not following directions, then it could all change and say, hey, you know what, I was gonna work with you, but you're not working with me, you're giving me a bad time, so we're just gonna call the paddy wagon, load everybody up, and we're gonna go. So,
Yes.
Okay. It seems to me that there's certain places that the kids can kind of go and get alcohol, whether they have a fake ID, whether it's a very obvious fake ID. Are you guys aware of these places?
we have been, and this is what we've done in the past, however, we've worked with TABC, and we know these places. Now, this has been a while, and TABC's kind of lost some of their funding for these juvenile stings, but what they do is that if we contact them and tell them that Sonny's or this convenience store, gas station, whatever else, what they'll do is that they'll have a kid that's 18 years old that looks like he's 16 years old, wired up, go in, buy the alcohol. You know, there's a couple of undercovers in there shopping. They watch it go down, then they go on it. And I love to go on those when we were really active and we could really get TABC's involvement in that. But, you know, funding and everything else and things change, and so we hadn't had a whole lot of that. But it really needs to be done. And they're experts at it when they were doing it. And we didn't have to worry about it. All we did was transport them, file on the clerk, and TABC took care of everything else. But that, you're right, we know where they are sometimes.
So are they aware that they're not watched quite as closely these days?
Some of them are, but I will tell you, I do know of stores that have lost their license for a period of time. So TABC is still out there. The other thing is, and I know we're going a long time, but it's good questions. If you go to the Fat Stock Show and Rodeo, or whatever they call it down there, the juveniles were getting all kinds of beer served to them there. Last year, the TABC put a unit out there, and that's what they looked for. And they told all the rodeo people out there that if you're serving juveniles, we're gonna bust you. And that started cutting it down. Now, the drunk cowboys are still a problem, but at least our kids.
We're really busy at rodeos.
You are.
Yes, sir.
I have a little tongue-in-cheek comment. If there were a peer pressure, an anti-peer pressure vaccine, would everybody want to buy one or buy some pills for their kids? Because I'd sure like to buy it. Do you know if there's anything like that being developed?
I don't know. Heck, we can't get a vaccine for Ebola. We probably can't.
Well, I just think we ought to vote for getting that peer pressure vaccine, because I think that's also very, very much a driver of this. At least personally, I can take that.
It always
That's
has
what makes
been.
it so scary, too, because of the potential consequences on the other end.
Hey guys, I want to point out, I know there's probably a few more questions, but we have put together, the Community Network sponsored a handbook. It's called the Red Book, a resource for MHS parents from the Community Network. It is available on the MHS website. If you pull up mhs.springbranchisc.com, look on the left-hand side, it's the Community Network, and it has this picture, although it's printed on white, so it's a little clearer. We'd love for you to download it. Just know that it's there. If you would like an actual printed copy, we have about 50 tonight. You are welcome to take one home with you, but it's always available to you on the internet. I'm going to officially adjourn the meeting because I know some of you need to go home and eat dinner and check on homework. Please feel free to stay and ask questions if you have them. Don't forget to pick up your sign if you ordered one. Thank you, everybody.